sort of, I think did it continue or did it end? Fuck, can't even draw. It was about, yeah, so the rally actually, it rallied on the wick when Bitcoin began rallying. So you can see here that you can build your own trading strategy around the concept of momentum, right? You analyze the low time frames, you wait for Bitcoin to dump, you see which coins hold up and which ones go sideways. You bid the ones at support levels that go sideways, that have outlier price action, and you ride them as they pump. So this is a low time frame trading strategy, the one of the most profitable ones that you can follow, one of the ones I most highly recommend if you do want to try trading. And it works really good, because the way that you should view what just happened here is this tweet really well summarizes it. In my opinion, the best part about post nukes will always be when the market shows its hand and screams to you whatever coin has more buyers and less sellers, or less sellers and less buyers and more sellers, right? What you want is more people buying, so more demand, and less sellers, so less supply. And when the market drops, it shows that to you. It shows to you which one is the leading coin, which one is the fastest horse, and that's what you want to bet on, okay? Now, I said to you that there's two ways that you can do, you can analyze outlier price action. That was the first one for trading. Now this one's for investing, which is what this course is about. So a classic example of the outlier price action is on a coin called Casper, right? It launched in like October, November 2022, so about a year ago from when this was filmed, and Casper's gone up about 100x or more. And the reason why Casper has done this, I think, is down to four main reasons, okay? So reason number one, why does Casper have its outlier price action? Well, it had a perfect fair launch tokenomics, which allowed for organic price discovery to occur. So, let's do some visualizations here. In the course, we talk about why VC coins are bad to invest in generally. It's because if this is pre-market, most of the value of the coin, most of the upside is priced in before the coin is launched. And then the coin launches, and then that tends to, be the final part, right? Casper was a fair launch, which meant it launched here. It allowed you to capture this upside, or on the open market. And when you make your holders rich instead of the VCs rich, you're allowing your project to have outlier price action, because you are maximizing the community building score. And you're also rewarding the people who are most likely to not sell your project. Remember, VCs want to take profits fast because they need to deliver profits to their investors. Retail investors are only accountable to themselves, and they tend to fall for the HODL, 1000x, new paradigm logic much easier and at a much larger scale than a VC who has people who don't give a fuck about crypto breathing down their neck, who just want to make a profit. Okay? How do you have outlier price action? More demand, less supply. How do you get more demand and less supply? You have an organic community where growth happens slowly and naturally over time, and you have rewarding people with profit who are least likely to sell. Right? Pretty simple. And that's how you create outlier price action, in my opinion. At least one component of it. Now, where do we go? Now, another reason is, and you can see here, no pre-mine, there's no allocations, no VC stuff. The community owns the coin. The second part is the high conviction holders. So because the project is obviously really good, the holders, the people who actually own Casper, have a very high conviction, and they understand that this is a layer 1 protocol. The competitors are multi-billion-dollar valuations. It doesn't make sense to sell this until this one is at a multi-billion valuation, right? Steady, organic growth built off the back of a team which executes and is playing the long game. So, if this was a VC coin, they probably would have had all of Twitter talking about it on launch, and most of the upside would have been priced in immediately. But with Casper, it was very much a community-run project. The growth was slow. People slowly found Casper, which allowed for an organic inflow like this instead of a VC coin where it's all at once on the token launch because the VCs want to make money fast, right? Or maybe within the first few months. Then their tokens get unlocked. all that upside's been priced in. Now it's going back to being a regular coin. But if it was a slow sort of growth of the community over time like this, then the price action tends to do more its own thing, instead of copying Bitcoin, right? Now, number 3 is, like we just said, and number 4 is also the launch time. So Casper launched at the bottom of the bear market, right? October 2022, when things were terrible, Casper launched, imagine if Casper launched, let's say, 5 months earlier. Casper would have had its initial investors maybe losing, 80% of their stack. And that would have created more overhead supply. It would have been more challenging for the project. It might have performed differently. So the fact that it launched at the bottom, it had a fresh chart when the prices weren't going to go any lower, set it up for massive success. Okay? So let's look at Casper and Bitcoin. So this is a 1 year time frame. Okay, I'm showing you 1 year. You can see that Casper goes up while Bitcoin went sideways. So you should be looking at this coin going, wow, it's an outlier. Why is it doing this? And you should be looking to bid this one on retracements, right? So you can see here, Bitcoin down, Casper up, Bitcoin down, Casper up. So you can see that, sometimes it does the same thing, sometimes it doesn't. But this is an example of an outlier coin. Even now you can see that, and it's funny because sometimes Casper does the opposite of Bitcoin. Let me see if I can, on to the reverse side. So sometimes the market goes up and Casper goes down, right? So I think here's a classic example. Bitcoin was pumping, Casper just went sideways, right? But this is a great example of an outlier coin, okay? This is what you want to own. Now, let me show you an example of a bad coin. So this is Bitcoin, Ripple, Litecoin, and Stellar. So you can see here that the higher on the chart a coin is, the more returns it made. So you can see Bitcoin 100%, Ripple 80%. You can see that they made less money. Now you can see that they basically follow Bitcoin but just do less, right? So you can see that Bitcoin rallying here. So you can see Ripple's rallying here, the yellow one. The blue one's going up and the orange one's going up. You can see that they all go up at the same time, right? They're all following the same general trend, right? Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Now this is the coins you don't want to own because their price action, their bull market is completely dependent on Bitcoin going up. Casper didn't need Bitcoin to do anything. It was doing its own thing. And that is why it has gone up 100x. These coins need Bitcoin for it to go up. And this is why they don't go up 100x. It's why they underperform, right? It's like, imagine a high school project where you've got one kid who does all the work and then you've got the other kids which basically, do nothing. They contribute like a tiny bit of the assignment. But if the assignment gets a good ranking, they get a good ranking, right? So they basically piggyback off of the success of someone else. You don't want to own the coin which requires someone else's success for them to succeed. You want to own the coin which is going to bring the success. Okay? And now if you look at this tweet, this is also another way that you can look at outlier price action. So at the bottom of the market, for whether it's the broader market or a particular coin, you're going to see bad news come out and you're going to see price not go down or price go up. If bad news comes out and price goes down, and price goes up, that is a sign that we have passed the point of peak fear, of peak scaredness. And you can view this here as a very simple visualization for you, right? When the market hits the top and it begins to go down, good news comes out here, good news comes out here, and price just keeps going down. This is bearish, and this is what the top of the bull market is going to look like. Good news coming out, price not caring. And the inverse, when the market has hit its bottom and it's beginning to go up, you're going to see bad news. You're going to see China bans Bitcoin or whatever it is, right? And price is just not going to care. And that is how you know a bottom is in, okay? And so the same thing for picking outlier coins. If you see Bitcoin being the bad news going down and your coin going sideways, it's a sign of a market bottom. It's a sign of at least that coin having a bottom, right? And he gives another example here. When Binance and Coinbase were attacked by the SEC last month, we saw a small dip, but then something strange happened. The market rallied, and in a few days, the prices were higher before the news. In normal circumstances, this kind of news would have resulted in a 30% fall in prices. It's safe to conclude that the market is tired in that circumstance. Those that wanted to leave have left. And most importantly, those that wanted to fumble their bags had done so, right? So if a coin can't drop when the news is bad or the rest of the market is dropping, it's a sign that there is an underlying bid, an underlying strength. There's something happening with this coin that maybe is not yet apparent to you now, but will be apparent to you in the future. And it is your job to not ignore that, but to pay attention and double down on figuring out what's happening and to get yourself exposed, because you need to be owning the fastest horse. You need to be investing into the person in the school group assignment that's doing all of the work, because it's that person who can determine its own future, who can determine its own fate, and will go far further than the people and the coins who rely on something else going up for them to go up themselves. Okay? Casper is a classic example. Any coin that you find which is doing its own thing, which is going sideways when the market goes down, is worth looking into. So a little general heuristic for you: if you want to go to CoinGecko, right, or any of these platforms that list all the coins, basically just look for coins with charts that are not like any other chart. And if you find a coin which is moving unlike any other coin, add it to your research list. Figure out, what the fuck is this thing doing? Why does it look different? Why does this coin have a bid and a holder base which view it differently to the rest of the market? What are they seeing that I'm not seeing? Why do they think this thing is undervalued? Why is there so many people who want this? Why is it so much stronger? Why does this have a cult community of people who will never sell? What am I missing? And that is the question you need to ask yourself. Okay? Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.